So we got Canada Day coming up pretty soon, a bunch of great games. And so we have to catch up with one of the great Canadians in our game, one of the great ballers, period. That is Tyson Philpot, who I notice the wardrobe choice is rocking an Alouettes championship tee.
You
Making sure
gotta
he's
be
at the game.
intentional, DB. You gotta be intentional. I like it, Ty.
Most definitely. It's St. John Baptiste Day over here too, so I'm rocking my blue.
Talk about confidence. Who's playing with more of it than you right now? Confidence, swag, aura. Young players, specifically receivers early in their career, I'm like, I hope I'm open. I hope I find a soft zone. I hope they lay off me. You look like you're coming to the line of scrimmage being like, I hope I get pressed, man. Like, I want that smoke. What's it been like for you to continue to stack good performance after good performance?
Yeah, definitely, man. First off, shout out to my team. I couldn't do it without them and Cody and the O-line giving them time to find me down the field. But yeah, man, that those first 2 years, I feel like maybe I played like that, but now it's definitely that confidence swag. Like, I know Cody's expecting me to go down there and make a play. Obviously, coming into the season, there was a big talk about who's going to be the next guy stepping up, and I feel like we're doing it as a group. But I'm definitely having my days as the season started. But there's definitely that confidence. Like, I got to help this team win, and I got to make plays game in and game out. And I'm just doing my 1/12, and it's going well so far.
I want to hear about your mentality, man. The intangibles and stuff that we don't see, man. You right now leading the league in yak yardage, man. Didn't see that coming. What goes into that? What kind of mindset do you have to be in order to be that guy right now?
Yeah, I was always taught, once you get that ball in your hands, you got to make something happen. I feel like, being a running back growing up and, watching my dad's highlights and, just seeing what he was able to do with the ball in his hands, something I've definitely taken from him and been able to emulate a little bit, not as fast as he was, but that shiftiness and just, getting upfield. That's a big thing we talk about is once you catch that ball, you got to get north. And, I always put that shoulder down. I always run with that forward lean. And, I might not have that running back size, but I'm always put my shoulder down. I'm a fall forward. So that's something that I always make sure I do when I get the ball. But just like we talked about before, man, once that ball gets in my hand, I'm confident and it's white noise. I'm just ready to make a play.
I want to talk about that there's that atmosphere that you get to play in at home in Percival Molson. But when you look across the league, outside of playing at home, when you go into a visiting stadium, what's the atmosphere that you like the most?
I would say the fans, seeing fans waiting outside your bus with team cards or signed photographs of you and stuff like that. Like that's a dream come true for me. Just growing up, being such a big fan of sports and, seeing that in Montreal and, being a part of the parade, as per se, like that was the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. And that was a real dream come true too. So just the fan side of it and just seeing how much we're loved and how much we're respected in the city and in the country of Canada and just watching it grow for sure too.
Listen, Ty, you're loved, especially in Montreal, for all of the stuff that you're doing for that province, for the Alouettes. But I'm gonna tell you this: the more you continue to perform the way you are, there's gonna be a group of fans that are not gonna like you in particular. Is there a group right now that you're saying, man, I can't stand them, but they fuel me? Which group would you say, man, every time you go somewhere now, they call you by name and they start to talk to you and tell you stuff that your brother's better than you? What group of fans right now that you feel like, man, I love actually winning in their faces?
Hey, it would have to be Winnipeg, obviously with the dramatics last year and how this season started too. I definitely think I'm started to be on their bad side for sure. They do not like me. Hit that little ring celebration on them too. So I definitely think I'm starting to hurt some people over there, but they're the pinnacle. So, to go in there and get a win at any point in the season is huge. And, to win a Grey Cup too is even bigger.
We talk about Canada Day coming up, and it's a celebration, obviously, of our country and our sport and our game. We got Team Canada representing right now, 2 Team Canadas, actually. For you, I imagine if the age is matched up where you could watch and consume, that you looked up to your dad growing up. But were there any other Canadian players that you looked up to growing up or maybe modeled your game after?
I'm a big football fan, so even like guys that are still in the league, like Nick Dempsey for sure. I grew up watching Canadian football and it being my favorite over the NFL, to be honest. Growing up and just playing the three downs and just idolizing that. I would say Getzlav for sure. That was a big name, especially coming up in the youth sports. What he did at Western, I believe, is where he went and set all the records. That was someone that I had written down and someone I had emulated and tried to watch his film and see what he did great. But yeah, like Dembski for sure was a big guy for me that I watched, and just what he was able to do on and off the field was pretty big for me.
What's it mean to you that now young receivers, young playmakers coming up, for their junior teams and be like, I want that number 6 jersey. I want to be like Tyson. Have you allowed yourself to think about the fact that now you're the player that kids are going to want to be like?
I don't think I have yet. Some people tell me that I've heard that before too. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to still stay young, and as long as I can. Like that's what I hear from all the older guys. Try and soak it up, be as young as you can. But after this year, and getting the messages after games and stuff like that from young guys that are always texting me and telling me that they look up to me, it's awesome. I remember being that young kid looking up to the BC Lions when they'd come to my elementary school and dreaming about being in that position. So to now be in it and to be living it's surreal. But I know that it holds high expectations, and I know that I need to stay up with the community, and that's why I like to stay in Montreal. And it's just a blessing, in honesty.
Talk to me about what are some of the things that in your mind right now you're actively working on to continue to improve. We talked about the yak yardage. We talked about the mindset. We talked about some of the stuff that you've done to get to where you're at right now. What are some of the things right now that you're saying, man, I'm working on to get to that next level?
For me personally, with my history, it's honestly been the little things off the field and making sure I'm available and staying healthy. That was part of the biggest reason why I stayed in Montreal, so I could get one-on-one training with the coaching staff here and allow them to evaluate me and get that treatment and stuff like that. But just understanding what it takes to be a pro and be a consistent pro is one of the biggest things that I've reached out to some of the guys like Austin Mack, especially with what he did last year and just what he did in his off time to allow himself to be available for every game and to be able to put up those kind of numbers every game. So that's one of the biggest things for me. I know if you're not available, you're not going to be able to do anything for your team or help them out at all. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing for me. But mentally too, watching as much film as I can. I could definitely say in my earlier years, I wasn't the biggest film guy. I kind of thought I was going to be the best athlete. I was just going to show up and compete. But Cody's definitely taken that leadership role too. And, as receivers, we meet at 6 a.m. every day and we watch the film before we even watch it as a team. So just, understanding that part and just making sure I'm consistent with what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's easy to watch film now because like every 4 plays you're making a play, so you're excited to watch the film now. Lastly, before we let you go, as we mentioned, we're gonna set hype for Canada Day, so it'd only be right. And there is such a huge amount of talent in terms of Canadians across the league in football, period. But for you in the CFL right now, the best Canadian player is who?
Ooh, I mean, I'm always say myself. I'm a very confident guy. Uh, hey, I was leading the league for a little bit, so I'm gonna definitely say myself. But much respect to all the Canadians out there. Watching Keandre and Shafe, Perji Mayala, watching all those guys make plays week out, and it's awesome for the game.
It is. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of competition for the trophy going to the top Canadian at the end of the year. But we talked about that 200 and how you're the beginning of the stagger. Well, I think you've got a nice little pole position right now. You're in the inside lane, so keep doing what you're doing. All the best. We love watching it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys having me on the show.